welcome back to another day working on the Tacoma. We did make some changes. Got some takeoffs, 16-inch rim, just Toyota rims. I really like them, so hopefully they'll work out. And but today, one of the things that I've wanted to do is put a roof rack on the Tacoma. So obviously there's nothing up there, and Prinsu used to make a rack for it, but they discontinued it. So the only rack that I've been able to find that's available is by UpTop Overland, and so that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to take it out of the box and kind of put it together and see what it takes to put it on the Tacoma. So this is something you're interested in, please stick around for the video. All right, so we've got everything out of the box, and this is kind of what it looks like. So everything comes with brackets, all of the hardware, the side pieces, the front fairing, and then the crossbars, and then by far the best sticker. So this roof rack, because the Tacoma extra cab and the first gen doesn't have any factory mounting points, this actually has to be drilled into the roof of the vehicle, and it's going to be using plus nuts. So if that terrifies you, then this is probably not the kind of rack that you want to go through. So we're going to go ahead and assemble it. The instructions come based on a QR code. You pull it up on your phone, just like you do with anything. And so we'll assemble it first. Assembling is pretty straightforward. It's just put the crossbars together, use the supplied hardware, and then we'll take a look at what it looks like on the truck. All right, so to get this together, you need a couple things based on the instructions. You're going to need a 5/32 Allen, a 5mm Allen, a 1/2-inch wrench, and a 7/16 wrench, along with some Loctite and a torque wrench, so in inch-pounds. So all the fittings have an inch-pound torque setting. We're going to apply thread locker to everything, and then we'll kind of just put it together, and I'll bring you along. All right, so each load bar gets a couple of these bars for the front and the rear, and that's how the screws attach to the load bar itself. All right, so the first one, the brackets have a number in them, and so this 2301 is on the front side for the first bracket. So we're going to get the hardware, apply some thread sealant, and then each one gets a washer and some Loctite. All right, so that gives us I got both of them put together, so you can see the front and the rear. This part is going to go on the roof. So the next step is to put on the side pieces and bolt that together. So those will go into the ends of the load bars. So you can see here in the 80/20, this part is threaded, and so they provide some fasteners for that. So we'll do that now. All right, in this step, we're going to use the package that says load bars, and that uses the 5/32 hex. And we're going to start with the front and work our way to the rear. The front and the rear need to be pushed all the way to the ends, and then the load bars in the center can be centered wherever you want. Again, your bolt, washer, some thread sealant. Again, this is Loctite, the blue Loctite 243. I already start everything in hand and then run it in with an impact, just enough till it's all right. We're just gonna do the other side and then I'll bring you back. Okay, that's done. So here is the rack. So I set these bars at 15 1/4 from the front, and so this bar and this bar is 15 1/4, and then there's a smaller space in between. So I think that's going to work out pretty good. Otherwise, it's going to be too close to the front, so I just figured spacing them off with the front bars would be next. So the next step in this is to connect the fairing piece, and that's pretty simple, 2 bolts on each side. And that's it. All right, like I said, the next step is the windscreen, and it's just a piece of aluminum. And then there are 2 holes there and 2 holes there. And it comes with the supplied hardware, slated windscreen, and this is where the 5mm Allen and the 1/2 inch or 7/16 wrench comes in place. 1/2 inch wrench. All right, now it's pretty simple. They got nylon nuts, so it just is kind of just tighten them down to the torque specking that they gave in the directions. So the next step is going to be set the rack on top of the truck. And I'm going to get some small towels just to set it on there, because we got to get the feet set just right. And then we'll tighten those bolts down in their final location. All right, so this part gets a little bit fiddly, if you will. So I've got the rack up here. And it's supposed to align with the drip edge of the door. But I gotta do a bunch of measuring before we look at where we need to start drilling holes. So there's 2 sets of holes for each feet, and I'm gonna be working for a little bit just to try and make sure that it's centered on the truck side to side, and it's as far forward or backward as we need it to be. So it's going to take me a little bit to get that adjusted, and then once we get to that point, I'll show you where we are. All right, I think we got it. So we are set. So the instructions say that you're good front to back when you're a 1/2 inch in the center from the top of the truck to the fairing. So we pushed it back. We had to push it back some to get to where that 1/2 inch was on the center line. And then we moved it left to right to make sure that it was centered on the truck itself. We actually used the body line on a level to make sure that we were centered side to side. We got all the feet where we need them to be, and then we marked the insides. So that line in the center of that oval is where we're going to drill a hole for the plus nut. So that's going to be the next step to get it done. But so far I like it. I think it looks good. I think it's going to give us the ability to put some ski racks up here and whatever else we want to do. Mainly I think the ski racks are probably going to be the thing that we're going to use the most. It's exciting stuff. So we'll get this rack off and go through the process of drilling those holes. All right, so to get ready to drill the holes, I took a center punch, and you can see how I made a slight divot on each one of these right in the center. And what that's going to do is help the first drill bit drill through. So I'm going to use a step bit to get the first hole started, and then we'll use the bit that was included in the kit to drill the rest of the way through the roof. Now, they say that you can take the headliner down. I am not going to do that, just because the thing is 27 years old, and I'm just not going to take it down. And I'm not worried about Any other things, if you have newer models, of course, you got to worry about airbags, but this thing doesn't have the side curtain airbags kind of stuff, so it should be a pretty straightforward, simple process. Okay, so we're just going to use a 1-inch step bit. The beauty of this is that it'll only allow you to go down to the first bit, first step, so that won't allow us to push through the top of the roof. Hear that pop? All right, so we'll go ahead and get the bigger bit, and we'll finish all the rest of the ones around the roof, and then we'll get the bigger bit and do the last of the drilling. All right, with the supplied bit, we put the collar on it. This collar is going to keep it from going too deep into the hood of the vehicle or into the roof of the vehicle. And so it's set at about 3/8 of an inch, and we'll go ahead and drill the holes. All right, as easy as that. I'll go ahead and finish the other 6. All right, well, that wasn't so bad. See the 2 holes? So drilling into stuff is just, it's, you know, whatever it is that is you have the appetite for. To me, it's not a big deal. I've drilled into other things, and I've got a adventure van, and we cut windows and panels out of that thing, so drilling into the top of this isn't a big deal. So what comes next? So what we use are plus nuts, and there are riv nuts and plus nuts. The riv nuts kind of squish together, and then the plus nuts actually have like a star pattern. I believe they hold better. Apparently the manufacturer does too. So the drill bit that they provided is the exact diameter for the plus nut. So they provide you with a nut and a bolt that you can try and do it yourself. I happen to have a plus nut tool, and so that's what we're going to use. All right, so as it turns out, my plus nut tool doesn't have an M6 manual for it, so we're going to use the supplied M6 bolt and washers to kind of do this. So first thing you got to do is take your plus nuts, and you're just going to push it down in a hole. You take a rubber mallet, and it's just that easy. So we're going to put the rest of them in, and then I'll show you how to use the bolt and washer set they gave us. All right, so we went back and I put some sealant in all the holes. So I had some leftover 5200, which is a marine sealant. It hardens. So I coated the inside and then put a dab around the plus nut before I pushed it in. And then that'll keep the watertight sealed, and then we'll put some more on top before we bolt the rack down. But we're going to go over the process. Putting the plus nut in, utilizing the bolt and washer set that they gave us. So you have the bolt itself, and then you have a nut, and then a washer. And what you want to do is you want to thread this in all the way until it gets past the end of the plus nut. And so they give you an extra one. So just to test the height, you can take the plus nut and screw it in. You can see it's right there at the end. So you're going to need 2 wrenches, and this is a 10mm setup. So 10mm nut and a 10mm bolt, and you're just going to take it and you're going to thread it in to the plus nut like that until it goes down and hits the nut to the washer. And then you're going to get your 2 wrenches, and we'll tighten it down. So I'm using a 10mm ratcheting wrench, and then just a socket to hold it tight. And you're just going to take this nut and tighten it down. And then this is what's going to hold everything. And basically you're just going to tighten this nut. The washer is what allows it to spin, and what you're doing is you're pulling that plus nut up tight to the roof. All right, it'll get progressively harder. And once it feels tight, stop. You're just gonna back that off and you're done. And that's how that works. It's not a quick process. The tool makes it super fast. We'd already be done by now with all of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish those and then we'll get the rack set back down on it. All right, all done. So here's finished product. The ones on the other side look the same, but I'll show you just in case. So they all got sealant around them, so they will not leak. And we're gonna put a little dab inside of the plus nut. No light. We'll put a little dab inside the plus nut once we get the fasteners down, so water doesn't come down into it. So that shouldn't be a big deal. So we're gonna pick the rack up and put it on. Easy enough. And it sits right on the plus nuts. And then all we gotta do now is get the fasteners in and tighten it down. So pretty simple. We'll show you when we're all done. All right, there it is. So it is done. That took us a couple, 3 hours to do, mainly just because of the plus nuts and since my tool didn't work. Like I said, I didn't have the right manual for it. But other than that, pretty easy to put together. I'm super happy with it. I think it's going to look great on the Tacoma. And all aluminum products, so we don't have to worry about it rusting. We sealed everything, so we don't have to worry about water coming in. And they have a nice package. It comes packed well, the instructions are good, and all the parts are there. So I can't complain at all about the setup. And I'm super happy with UpTop and its product for the first gen Tacoma. Hope you guys got something from the video. We got a lot more to come as we kind of get this Tacoma ready. A lot of other things. We're gonna do a clutch. We're gonna do the valve cover gaskets, transmission mount, and I got something special planned for the bed. And then we'll get some new tires. And she should be ready for winter, I'm guessing. So clutch cylinder, slave cylinder, master cylinder, slave's master cylinder. We got full brakes. All the things got to get done. So again, those are things to look forward to. Hope you guys got something from the video. This was our UpTop first gen Toyota extra cab roof rack install. Thanks for watching.